Welcome to Episode 1 of the AI for Business podcast by Clever Merchants. I am so excited to kick this off. Usually when we talk about a highly skilled tradesperson like a master plumber or a veteran electrician, there's this baseline expectation of just total physical precision.
Right, absolutely. Like, they can trace a complex wiring issue through 3 floors of a Victorian house without breaking a sweat.
Exactly. Or they pinpoint the exact source of a slab leak behind, 6 inches of drywall just by the sound of it, or a slight temperature shift. The physical work they do is incredibly exact. It's almost surgical.
It really is. And I mean, that relies on years of muscle memory, specialized knowledge, and just a deep understanding of how physical systems interact in unpredictable environments. You definitely don't learn that from a manual.
No, you learn it by doing it 1,000 times. But then, and tell me if you've seen this, you walk out to their truck, you look at the dashboard, and suddenly that beautiful precision is just completely gone.
Oh yeah, the dashboard filing cabinet?
Yes. We're looking at a chaotic landscape of crumpled sticky notes, half-filled out invoices with coffee stains on them, 3 different spiral notebooks, and like a missed call log that goes all the way back to Tuesday.
It's the absolute definition of operational muddy waters. The exactness of the trade rarely translates to the exactness of the back office.
Because they went into business to build and fix things.
Yeah.
Right, not to be data entry clerks.
Exactly. And that operational friction is exactly what we are tackling in today's deep dive.
Yes, it is. So, again, welcome to the AI for Business podcast. Our mission in this deep dive is to explore how artificial intelligence is radically transforming the trades industry. We're talking about plumbers, electricians, HVAC technicians, builders, roofers, all of you out there.
And we should clarify right out of the gate, we are skipping the technical jargon today. If you are a non-technical business owner, you are in the exact right place. We're focusing purely on practical, accessible, real-world applications.
Stuff you can actually use to grow your business. We have an incredible stack of sources for this deep dive, too. We're pulling data from reports by Sosame, Service Titan, Pinpoint Promote, Sleepless Tradesman, and Alfred.
It's a really comprehensive look at the industry right now.
It really is. But before we get into the mechanics of all that data, I actually have to share something incredible with you, the listener. It's a bit of a meta twist.
Oh, this is my favorite part.
Right. Okay, so let's unpack this. This entire audio experience you are listening to right now, the voices, the back and forth conversation, the pacing, the analysis, it was created entirely by AI.
Which is just wild.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But it isn't just a fun parlor trick. It's a practical demonstration of what is possible with today's technology.
Exactly. Because think about it. If artificial intelligence can ingest complex industry reports, synthesize the data, and produce a nuanced, highly produced audio deep dive like this one.
Right. Imagine what it can do for the routine, repetitive operations of your business.
Exactly. It really reframes the conversation. And I think it brings us right to the elephant in the room, right?
Yeah.
You can't open a news app or browse social media without seeing some headline about AI coming for everyone's job.
Oh, constantly. The robots are taking over.
Right. But when you synthesize the data across the trades industry from all our sources, this really fascinating concept emerges. It's what the reports call the trade-resistant AI-advantaged framework.
Okay, I love this concept. Break that down for us.
So it's a crucial distinction. Trades are uniquely AI-resistant where it matters most, which is the physical work. I mean, you cannot send a large language model into a 120-degree attic in July to diagnose a refrigerant leak.
No, definitely not.
And an algorithm cannot physically strip damaged shingles off a 40-year-old roof after a hailstorm and lay down new paper.
Because that requires a physical presence. It needs human judgment and a licensed professional who understands the unpredictable nature of a physical job site.
Right.
Like an AI doesn't know what a rotting floorboard feels like when you step on it.
Precisely. The core physical work of the trades is arguably the safest category of employment on the planet right now. But because that physical work is so secure, trade businesses are perfectly positioned to be AI advantaged everywhere else.
Okay, so I want to play devil's advocate here for a second and challenge that a bit.
Go for it.
I get that a robot isn't going to crawl under my house to fix a bursting pipe anytime soon.
Yeah.
But if their physical job is totally safe from AI, why do these business owners even need to care about this tech? Like, if the physical work is the moneymaker, why not just keep doing the administrative stuff the way they've always done it?
That's a very fair question. But the real threat to trades isn't robots taking their wrenches. The real threat is an invisible administrative burden that's actively choking their growth. combined with a really severe macroeconomic labor crisis.
Right. The labor shortage, it's everywhere.
It is, and when you look at the demographic data from our sources, roughly 53% of the construction and trades workforce is expected to retire within the next decade.
Wait, really? 53%. Over half the workforce is just gone in 10 years.
Gone. They are aging out of physically demanding work. And here's the terrifying math for a business owner. For every 5 older workers who retire, only about 2 new younger workers are entering the industry.
Wow. That's a huge deficit.
It's massive, and you cannot solve a gap that big with just better recruiting or higher wages. When the workforce is shrinking at that velocity and consumer demand is actually growing, the only mathematical way to survive is to make the existing workforce drastically more efficient.
Okay, I see. So if the physical work is bottlenecked by a shrinking labor pool, we have to look at what's happening in the office to find that efficiency.
Exactly. And the data from Service Titan and the Sleepless Tradesman reports is staggering here. The average tradesperson loses 10 to 15 hours a week just to administrative tasks.
10 to 15 hours?
Yeah. Let's contextualize that mechanically. We are talking about the hours spent after dinner building quotes, typing up invoices, playing calendar Tetris to schedule jobs, calling distributors to chase down materials.
Just burning the midnight oil on paperwork.
Right. And if you have an owner-operator billing out at, say, $50 to $80 an hour, losing 15 hours a week translates to anywhere from $26,000 to over $62,000 in lost billable revenue every single year.
That is insane. That's like a massive invisible leak in the business's plumbing. You're bleeding out the equivalent of a brand new work truck every year just by doing paperwork.
It's painful to even think about.
It really is. But you know what really jumped out at me from the source material? The quoting bottleneck. The data shows that 57% of customer inquiries never even receive a callback, over half.
Yeah, that's a tough pill to swallow for the industry.
And meanwhile, 35% to 50% of jobs simply go to the first tradesperson who responds.
It highlights a profound market failure. I mean, think about the consumer psychology today. Customers have been conditioned by modern technology, by Amazon, Uber, whatever, to expect a response within 10 minutes.
Oh, absolutely. We want it now.
Right. Yet in the trades, it often takes up to 3 weeks for a complex quote to arrive.
3 weeks? Why does it take that long? I mean, really?
Because the owner has to physically drive to the site, take notes, drive home, wait for pricing updates from their materials distributor, cross-reference their availability, and then finally sit down at a computer to format a PDF.
Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of steps.
By the time they send it, the customer has already hired the person who texted them back on day 1.
It's incredible that over half of the people actively trying to hand over their cash are simply ignored because the business owner is just, too busy pulling cable or fixing pipes to answer the phone. And honestly, you'd think the big tech platforms would have solved this by now.
You'd think so. But even the giant billion-dollar platforms out there, like Angie or Checkatrade, they aren't solving this friction at all.
No.
No, because they only sell leads. They act as a matchmaker, connecting the homeowner to 5 different tradespeople simultaneously, but they don't actually quote the job or book the calendar.
Right, they just throw your name in a hat.
Exactly. They just create a race to the bottom. So this leaves a massive competitive gap. The small business owner who leverages AI to generate an instant, accurate response is going to win the job, and not necessarily because they are cheaper, but because they actually responded while the customer was still staring at their phone in a panic.
So speed to lead is clearly the ultimate weapon in the market right now. But how does a 1-truck operation or a 5-truck fleet actually respond in 10 minutes? They can't all afford to hire a dedicated 24/7 office manager to just sit by the phone.
Well, the beauty of it is they don't have to. This brings us to the front-of-house AI tools. You can now deploy an AI chatbot using tools like Tidio, for example, that lives directly on your website builder or interfaces with your social media.
Okay.
This AI acts as a 247 receptionist, but it's not the clunky, useless bots from 5 years ago where you had to click predefined buttons.
Right, those were awful. Press 1 for hours. But this is different because it's using natural language processing, right?
Exactly. Natural language processing, or NLP, means the AI actually understands context and intent, much like a human would. So it instantly answers the same repetitive customer questions you get 10 times a day, like, what are your hours? Do you service this specific zip code? What's your base dispatch fee?
And it doesn't just answer questions. It captures the lead and qualifies it. Like, the system can actually tell the semantic difference between a low-value 15-minute question about changing an HVAC filter and a high-value 95-degree day total system failure.
Yes. It scores the urgency based on the vocabulary the customer uses. And once that high-value lead is captured, predictive scheduling AI takes over. And this is where it gets really powerful.
Oh, I love the scheduling stuff.
Right. The AI analyzes historical job data, real-time traffic patterns in your city, the specific skill sets of your different technicians, and even what parts are currently stocked on which trucks.
So it's basically solving that classic traveling salesman math problem, but dynamically, in real time.
Exactly. And by simply optimizing the routing and matching the right technician to the right job with the right parts, businesses are seeing a 15% to 25% increase in completed jobs per technician.
Wait, a 15 to 25% increase without adding a single working hour to the day?
Without adding a single working hour. It is pure route and sequence optimization. You aren't making your guys work harder, you're just stopping them from driving back and forth across the city for no reason.
That is brilliant, but I have to put myself in the shoes of a homeowner here for a second. Imagine you have water actively pouring through your kitchen ceiling, or your heat goes out in the middle of a blizzard.
Oh, a total nightmare scenario.
Right. Won't a customer in an absolute panic be furious if they call for help and have to talk to an AI chatbot? I mean, I would be screaming at the phone.
That is a very valid concern, and it raises an important point about how we deploy technology. The goal isn't to build a digital wall between the customer and the business.
Okay, so how does it work then?
Think of the AI essentially as a triage nurse in an emergency room. It handles the 70% of routine, non-urgent questions instantly. But it is specifically programmed to recognize high-urgency keywords. If a customer types or says, "water pouring through ceiling," or "I smell gas," the AI recognizes the critical nature of those phrases.
So it knows when to step aside.
Exactly. It immediately bypasses the automated conversational flow and routes the alert directly to human attention. It'll ring the on-call technician's phone instantly and override "do not disturb" settings.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. It basically clears away all the static of routine questions so the actual emergencies can be heard immediately. So you've captured the lead instantly, the algorithm dispatched the right tech, and the emergency is fixed. The physical work is done.
Yep, the customer is happy.
But if that tech drives away and the invoice gets lost in the passenger seat under a bunch of fast food wrappers, all that front-end efficiency is totally wasted. That brings us to the financial friction. How does AI ensure the business actually gets paid?
Well, cash flow is the lifeblood of any trade business. And the industry data from our sources highlights a very painful reality. Trades businesses typically have 15% to 30% of their total revenue sitting in unpaid, outstanding invoices at any given time.
30%. That is a huge chunk of change just floating out there.
It is. And chasing payments manually is not only incredibly time-consuming, it actively damages the customer relationship. I mean, no owner wants to call a client they just helped in an emergency to badger them for a check.
Oh, it's deeply uncomfortable. It feels like you're harassing them.
Right. But with automated AI follow-ups, the software integrates directly with the accounting system. If an invoice hits day 3 unpaid, the AI sends a polite text. At day 7, a structured email. The data shows this automated persistence collects cash 12 to 18 days faster.
12 to 18 days. That's massive for making payroll and buying inventory. And I saw in the reports, it's not just chasing invoices, right? It's also chasing bids.
Exactly. The bid follow-up is where so much potential revenue just dies. An owner spends 2 hours writing a complex quote for a bathroom remodel, sends it off, and then gets busy and literally forgets to ever follow up.
But if you use an automated system, the AI handles that entire follow-up sequence. The data indicates that simply automating bid follow-ups can bump your win rates from 28% all the way to 38%.
Which, if you think about it, is pure bottom-line growth without spending a single additional dollar on marketing or lead generation. You are just plugging the holes in your existing pipeline.
Absolutely. Speaking of marketing, though, let's talk about that for a second, because AI is radically changing how trades businesses find new customers, too. A lot of these owners, they don't have time to write blogs or design flyers.
No, they're exhausted by the end of the day.
Exactly. But now they are using tools like ChatGPT to instantly generate highly optimized website copy. Or they're using platforms like MailChimp for seasonal reactivation campaigns.
Seasonal reactivation is a perfect example of AI doing the heavy lifting. Explain how that works in practice for our listeners.
Okay, so imagine you're an HVAC business. You set up a database trigger. Every March, the system looks at all the customers you serviced last summer. It automatically uses an AI tool to write a personalized email and text message reminding them to book a spring tune-up before the summer heat hits.
Right, catching them before the rush.
Exactly. It sends it out, And suddenly that one automation automatically books 15 to 35 jobs while the owner is literally asleep. Add in Canva AI to instantly generate professional social media graphics, and suddenly a one-man shop looks like a 50-person enterprise online.
What is so powerful about this is how it fundamentally divides the labor.
It really does. AI basically plays the bad cop for collections, demanding the money objectively, and it plays a tireless intern for social media and marketing. That allows the actual business owner to just show up at the door, shake hands, do the work, and be the friendly neighborhood hero.
I couldn't have phrased it better myself. This technology preserves the vital human relationship with the customer. You get to be the empathetic expert who solves their physical problem, while the AI enforces the business boundaries and drastically lowers your overhead costs. It extracts all the emotional labor out of the administrative work.
Oh, okay. So all of these office tools, the chatbots, the automated invoicing, the predictive scheduling, they are fantastic for the owner sitting at a desk. But what about the technician out in the field? How does AI interact with the guys and girls actually wearing thick work gloves, dealing with the elements who have to feed the data into the system in the first place?
Yeah, this is where we see the transition from back-office AI to field-facing AI. Think about the documentation burden on a technician. Writing up job notes, detailing what specific parts were pulled off the truck, describing what they found behind the wall. It's just tedious.
Totally.
And when you're exhausted at 5 p.m., it often just doesn't get done well, which leads to billing errors.
Enter voice-to-job note AI. Honestly, this part blew my mind when I read the source material. The technician literally just sits in their truck and dictates a messy, unstructured rant into their phone about what they found and the parts they used. They don't have to type a single word.
Just talk normally.
Yeah. And the AI uses natural language processing to extract all the relevant data, format it cleanly, and log it into the correct fields in the CRM.
It structures the unstructured. It's beautiful. And it goes beyond voice to visual data, too, with photo to estimate AI. Let's say a roofer is assessing storm damage. They snap a photo of the roof from the ground or from a drone. The AI uses advanced computer vision to analyze that image.
Wait, how does it actually do that from just a flat picture? That sounds like magic.
It does sound like magic, but it's just really smart tech. The computer vision algorithms look for reference points, so things like shadow lines, standard shingle sizes, the angle of the eaves.
Oh, see.
Yeah, it uses those references to create a geometric map of the roof. It calculates the pitch, detects the edges, and estimates the total square footage. It then cross-references that surface area against a live database of local material costs to generate a draft estimate right there on the spot.
Okay, that is amazing. But I still have a hard time imagining a roofer balancing on a ladder, dealing with the wind, trying to navigate some complex, futuristic AI app on a cracked iPhone screen.
Well, it's a very fair point, but it's because they are on a ladder that this is so revolutionary. The interfaces in the field are shifting to be voice-first and photo-first. They do not have to navigate complex digital forms or tap through nested drop-down menus or type on a tiny keyboard with dirty fingers.
I should just talk or point a camera.
Exactly. The AI acts as the translator between the messy physical reality of the job site and the clean, actionable digital record needed by the office.
So it conforms to how the worker actually works, rather than forcing the worker to conform to how a software developer in Silicon Valley thinks they should work. That is a massive paradigm shift for user interface.
It really is, and it loops right back to the retirement crisis we touched on at the start. You are giving the remaining technicians their time back. You take the friction out of the day. A technician who isn't fighting with paperwork in the truck for an hour is a technician who can comfortably fit one more billable job into their day.
Or simply go home on time to their family and avoid burnout, which is just as important.
Exactly.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener, right now? We've covered a ton of ground today, from the 15-hour admin drain to AI instantly quoting jobs and writing job notes using computer vision.
I think the most important takeaway from synthesizing all this data is this AI is not going to replace tradespeople. That is fundamentally a myth. However, tradespeople who use AI will absolutely replace the tradespeople who don't.
Because the technology isn't the competitor. The competitor is the guy down the street who adopted the technology first.
Exactly. Efficiency will always win the market. The business that responds in 5 minutes with an accurate, AI-generated quote is going to beat the business that takes 3 weeks to reply every single time.
So, for you listening to this right now, we want to challenge you to look closely at your own business this week. Look for the friction. Identify those manual bottlenecks.
Yeah, where does it hurt the most?
Right. Is it the 3 hours you spend playing calendar Tetris on Sunday night? Is it the dread of chasing down those 60-day overdue invoices? Is it the dozens of voicemails you just don't have the energy to return after a long day? Imagine what your life and your profit margins would look like if you automated those exact pain points.
And remember, the tools exist today, and they are incredibly accessible. You do not need a dedicated IT department or a computer science degree to implement them.
Definitely not. And honestly, Clever Merchants specifically helps trades businesses implement this exact AI technology. We take the guesswork completely out of it. We highly encourage you to take advantage of Clever Merchants' free AI readiness review to get started on your own automation journey. Don't wait until your competitors are already using this to win your bids.
It's entirely about taking back your time.
It is. But before we go, consider this one final thought. As AI takes over the scheduling, the dispatching, the quoting, and the invoicing, the primary job of a trades business owner will no longer be managing logistics.
That's a huge shift.
It's profound. Your role will shift entirely to managing customer trust and brand reputation. If a machine can execute all your operations flawlessly, your human empathy and your physical craftsmanship become your only premium products. Are you ready for that shift? Keep building, keep innovating, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.